Good afternoon. You're on the DP Labs channel, and today is our second episode about our second electric ATV. Today we're going to talk about the battery. So how exactly is our battery fundamentally different from the batteries we've made before? Well, to be honest, it's actually not really different at all. No, of course there are some differences. The main difference is the presence of a frame in this project. So what exactly is the frame? It's made from a 2mm thick sheet of aluminum. We use bending here, but since the bends are relatively short and the metal is quite thin, we did not encounter the same problems that we had with larger bends. Accordingly, the battery consists of several plates that are carefully assembled with secure bolted connections, and the batteries themselves are then placed between these plates. Actually, there were some bending issues in this project as well, but they were mostly due to human error. In other words, we made a mistake in choosing the metal grade and the bend cracked, but that's a minor issue. We just remove it. Alright, so let's move on to the next one. But now, with the batteries assembled, we have the opportunity to show you the principle of how they are put together. So the main part is the side walls, which have grooves in them. Plates are inserted into these grooves. This plate is from a 1P battery. Behind us is a 2P battery which uses the same plates, just twice as wide. The plate is placed in its position and the next one is installed right next to it. And in this way the entire battery section is assembled. Then the individual cells themselves are carefully placed between the plates and they are covered with a second plate just like this. At the very end of the battery we install even thicker plates, which are 4mm thick, to provide additional strength and durability. These are also AMG aluminum. They are securely bolted on and have a rigging slot, so you can easily lift the battery with hooks.
He soars gracefully and effortlessly, just like a little bird in the sky.
Batteries are definitely not light. Even a relatively small battery usually weighs about 35 kilograms, and that's just for a single 1P. The battery right behind me at this moment weighs around 63 to 65 kilograms. But that's not its final weight yet, since more equipment will be added and silicone will be poured inside, but more on that later. So why do we need such a design? The first and main function is heat dissipation. That is, the battery frame essentially serves as a radiator. The outer walls of the battery will be securely joined to the outer walls of the frame of our backbone ATV. The outer side will be exposed to airflow and will dissipate heat here. The plates that are placed between the batteries are designed to absorb the heat and then transfer it to the surrounding environment through these plates. In this way, the battery does not overheat, even when it is under heavy loads. It is also important for maintaining the structural integrity of the batteries, so as not to damage the casing, to keep them in place during vibrations, and so on. At the moment, the battery is in the testing phase. It is partially disassembled, and that's why an important component is still missing here, the silicone filling. All of the empty spaces that you see here will be carefully filled with silicone later on. This important step will help to eliminate vibrational stress on the battery, and as a result, it will allow the battery to last longer over time. You've probably already noticed the masking tape that has been placed here. This is because during the testing phase, we closely monitor the battery's temperature using a specialized thermal imager. A thermal imager can't accurately read temperatures from highly reflective surfaces, which is exactly why we need to use masking tape here. You're probably wondering why we don't have water cooling. We looked at the experience of our, so to speak, senior colleagues at General Motors who use these cells in their electric vehicles. They use a similar system. That is, there are cells made of plastic and pairs of batteries are installed in them. But according to their experience, the cells in this configuration degrade rather quickly due to poor heat dissipation, so they also added a metal plate between the batteries which helps to direct the heat more efficiently to the bottom of the car. We borrowed this idea and will try to do without water cooling in the same way, following their approach. Next, we'll take a look at the electronics unit that we have inside the battery. It's installed in this particular position and is fastened accordingly, ensuring it remains secure during operation. Right now it's disassembled. What's inside it? This is precisely the power converter we talked about in the first part. We need it in order to reliably power high-load consumers, that is, for example, the winch, electric power steering, lighting, and various other things. The small converter supplies the necessary voltage to the electronics. Accordingly, they are able to operate independently from the main system. And in case the main one fails, gets overloaded, or there's a voltage spike, the small one has enough power to supply the electronics. Here we also have a BMS of our own design. We're still testing it. But the initial tests have shown good results in terms of balancing. There aren't many functions available yet, but we are actively working on expanding them. We also aim to completely eliminate any protruding wires from our battery. Accordingly, we designed these specialized terminal blocks. This is a copper contact group which serves as an important component in the overall structure. It passes through a robust polycarbonate insulator and allows us to securely connect to the battery contacts inside. And here, we can also connect the consumers that will be powered further. When removing or installing the battery, we simply unscrew the contacts and accordingly can easily take out the battery. A couple of words about the power converter. It's our own design and it's still being refined and tested. It outputs 12 volts, well, actually 14, and can handle up to 100 amps of load. Everything is still being changed and improved, but the overall architecture will remain roughly the same. Also, on the back side of the panel, we might install our very own charging station at some point in the future. That is, it will also be located inside the quad bike and will be placed either on this battery, well, on this plate, or somewhere nearby. Another advantage of this battery design is its modularity. It allows us to make, for example, in this case, a 2P battery 24S with each cell having 73 amp hours. We also assembled a larger battery with a 3P configuration. It's exactly the same design, just with a larger sidewall, a bigger top wall, and everything else is absolutely the same. On the computer, it can be changed in about 10 minutes, and we can make it as big as we want, adjust the size, change it, and the design remains the same.